Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast, featuring James Creviston and LukeLacoy. Yeah, we're about to get clean up in here, so clean your mouth out with a bar of soap and get ready for the Clean Comedy Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's James. Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. Today we have, of course, my co-host, Mr. LukeLacoy.
Hey.
And we have a very special guest, one of my favorite people. I'm not going to let him rant on here because it won't be family friendly for the rest of you guys. But my favorite thing that he does is rant. And if you listen to his new album, Bad Guy, he does a lot of that, and it's amazing and hilarious, and it will make you love him like I love him. So please welcome the very talented, very funny Mr. Agostino Zoida.
Thank you so much, both of you guys. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Seriously, I feel like you're my brother.
What's that?
I feel like we're brothers sometimes.
Yeah, why? Do you have a brother?
I have a little brother. I hate him, but I'm like, I feel like I feel like you're my real brother, and we got like separated at birth somehow.
Oh, okay, all right. I like it, dude.
Do you have a brother?
I'm gonna turn the AC off anyway because I can't hear you guys so well. All right.
Do you have a brother?
No, I don't.
Yeah. See, so maybe we are long lost brothers.
Yeah. I think that I had I had one, and and then the story goes is that he didn't make it.
Oh, okay.
Like
That's
before birth. So
no, right.
So, but that was before me, I think. So who knows? Maybe I do.
So it could be me. It might be me. I'm older than you, so it could be me.
Yeah. What if it was you? What if he really was born?
Right. That'd be weird.
James.
So tell us about Bad Guy. When did you record this, and how did you do it? Because it sounds amazing, first of all, which is not common for a self-recorded album. A lot of times you get like the kind of like weird sound or whatever. When did you record it? How long did it take for you to go through this whole process?
If I can be completely honest with you, I recorded this album in 2014, dude.
I said it, Luke, didn't I? I said he did a joke where he referenced 2014, 2016 or something like that. You reference it in the joke. He said, come on, people, it's 20, whatever. So, yeah, okay, good.
It's had its benefits to me releasing an album that old. So what happened is I'm glad that you said it. It sounded great. I originally did not like the quality of the sound. And so I actually had a sound engineer kind of fix it for me. And the problem was that the audience was not, you couldn't really hear them that well. So it sounded like I was bombing. So I had somebody go in and just kind of fix it so that they turned up the volume of the audience so you can actually hear them, that they were laughing. And once that got done, it just kind of sat forever because I myself wasn't happy with some of the bits on there and how they came out. And so, you know what, dude? During quarantine, I was like, it's sitting there. Let me do something with it. And I just edited it myself. I edited out the bits that I didn't like. It was an hour and 10 minutes, and now it's 51 minutes. So I didn't cut out that much. Mm-hmm. And it's perfect. I like the way that it is. And I'll tell you what, bro, like re-releasing and revisiting all those old bits, some of them I'm like, these are great bits. Why don't I do them anymore? So I'm glad that I got it out there. And I'm glad you said it sounds great because that was one of the problems I originally had. And I like that it sounds like it was recorded in a real comedy club. Mm-hmm. Like, was it? If you go back and listen to Bill Burr's first album, which is just audio, not a special, you can hear the waitress talking to the server. You can hear like the printer of the receipts going like the drink orders, and it just feels like a real comedy show. So,
and where was yours recorded at?
I recorded it at the Ha Comedy Club in North Hollywood.
North Hollywood, that's a good club, man. There's nice ceilings in that room, so that's good. And then
at the old one.
Yeah, I've been to both.
Okay, cool.
Because they still, for a while, when I first started comedy, they still ran open mics at the old one, and then you could go over to the new one, but they didn't run the mics at the new one yet. They were running at the old one, so it was like back and forth. It's so weird. Where you had to find out which club they were doing mics at that day. You had to figure, like, go to the other one or walk out the street, or it's like, all right, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So that was weird. And then how did you get them to let you do an hour like that? Did you book the room, or like, what did you do?
No, well, I have a very good relationship with that club. I still do. And I worked there for many years. And then besides that, I was just a regular at that club, and I still am a paid regular at that club. When they were open, they were open weekends and stuff. So I don't. It must have been like during the week or something, and their son, Jack Jr. I think was one of the guys that opened for me.
Yeah, Jack's funny. I like him.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
I met him like once or twice, maybe just once. Maybe I met him the one time in passing, and then one time kind of like face to face. But I doubt he ever remembers me. He'll probably, if I saw him again, he'd be like, I don't know who you are. That's
He's
okay.
a funny comic too, and I remember when he started, maybe only like a year or two after me. So he's been doing it a while too now. But yeah, I mean, it's his parents' club, and I have a great relationship with them and him. And I did the hour, and Adam Hunter emceed.
I love Adam Hunter.
Yeah, he's great. So that's his voice bringing me up on the album. And then Jack Jr. and a couple other friends of mine, I had to do a couple minutes but warm up the show. It was a lot of fun. I remember I had a great time doing that hour, and the audience was fantastic. And I mean, the best part about it is that if you come see me now, I'm not doing any of that material. You know, like I have a completely different hour that I was just getting ready to record before, you know, lockdown and stuff. So it would be great to have both albums out at the same time, but we'll see.
So let's say stuff opens up tomorrow or the 31st. I think they're saying is everything's going to start opening up again on the 31st, certain places. Let's say it opens up. How long will it take you to prepare to do another album?
Well, I already got it, dude.
What I mean, setting up the venue, doing all the stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, a couple months.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, just picking the right venue. And I have like an idea for, well, I'm not going to do just a CD this time. I would do like a video as well. I would do a special.
So you didn't record this video either? You just had the audio recorder?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. And then how long did it take you to edit like from start to finish? Like if you would have really sat down and did this, how long would it have taken to edit and get this all done if you just sat down and done it?
But the Bad Guy album?
Yeah.
Honestly, it took like a week. Once I finally dedicated myself to it, you know, a couple hours a day. I really like in my mind all these years thought it was worse than it was. And when I went and listened to it, I was like, most of this is solid bits, man. Like there's really only like 2 or 3 things I cut out. And then most things that I cut out were some crowd work.
Yeah.
Which are things I didn't like. I did some crowd work that night talking to certain audience members, and that kind of sounded bad to me, and I cut those out.
Yeah, I don't really always like crowd work on comedy albums. It's because it's hard because you can't always hear like what the person says back to the comedian and not all comedians repeat what the person says.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's difficult. What was the hardest part about recording a special? Because, you know, a lot of comedians are going to be doing the same thing, I think, after this. They're going to probably be self-producing. That's the way to go. That's the way of the future, self-producing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What was the hardest part of that for you?
I would say just getting an audience. Having an audience there. Like, anybody, you guys can go record it an hour. Anybody can do an hour. You know what I mean? It's having an audience there. It's not so hard to get a venue. It's not so hard. If you're just doing a CD audio only, it's not hard at all. You hook a Zoom into the soundboard, you got the whole show recorded, you know? But I mean, obviously if you want a good job done, you could put a little hidden microphones in the audience to avoid my problem that I had in the first place. And some mics underneath the tables would be great. And it's fairly easy, dude. The biggest problem is making sure there's audience there, because you can be like, well, what's the difference between that guy? I'm funnier than him. The difference between that guy and you is that he has a following, you know, and you don't want to be there to record your big special or album, and then you got 12 people in the crowd. It's embarrassing. It's not going to sound good, you know. So that was the biggest fear for me, while I'm worried about my set and worried about doing that whole hour that I wanted to do. I'm sitting there thinking to myself in the back of my head going like, come on, where are the people? Where are the people? You know, and you show up at the club and you're just like, it's like 15 minutes and we're still like not full yet. And you want a full house. And it actually ended up being a full house. I think maybe at the time, the old Haha maybe sat tight 100 people. So I think that there is overall like 90 people there.
Wow.
So it was almost a packed house. But just, you know, people run late and you get nervous. And you're like, I should be thinking about my set, but I'm not. I'm thinking about where the heck are all these people that said they were going to be here that RSVP'd online. And there was something else I was going to tell you about it. Oh, I remember what I did, and I got this idea from Dov Davidoff. You guys know Dov Davidoff?
Yeah, from New York.
Yes. So he's a comic that it's like bald, and he's from New York, and I think he might be Italian or something mixed, and he kind of talks funny. Really hilarious comic. I was into him back in the day. He was Comedy Central's boy.
Yeah.
Like Comedy Central or certain networks, they'll like put all their money invested in one person. He was their dude. Like they gave him a special. They produced his album. He had some funny bits. And I remember I went to the taping of his special. Yeah, it was also filmed in North Hollywood. And I sat there and watched him do it. And I was front row, and I saw on the side, it was the El Portal Theater. And on the side is like the walls. Kind of hard to explain. It's almost like the front of like a balcony. Yeah. And he had these giant like cardboard cutouts of his set list, but giant ones. You know how you write your set list on a little notebook?
Yeah.
Like, you know, some people think comedians write out each joke. I'm going to do this. No, once you know the joke by heart, you just write the list. Like, I'm going to do this bit, that bit. You just, the anchors. And so he had a giant set list. So it took up 2 big cardboards, and one on one side and one on the other side, so that during his hour, I guess if he forgot the order or something like that, he can just look, and it would, you know, and it was just there, giant like cue cards. And so I got the idea for him. So when I recorded my album at the Haha, I got little pieces of cardboard, like cardboard boxes, just broke them, and I wrote my set list on these cardboard boxes, and I put them like up where if you remember the old Haha, they had those track lights facing this, and then the red light was right there in the middle. I like hung them in that, like, so that so if anybody so the audience wouldn't see I was using cue cards, but if I needed to, I can just quick look up and see what bit comes next again. Honestly, it was my first time doing more than an hour at once. I obviously had the material, I had the time, which in Hollywood, it's hard to get an hour to practice.
Yeah.
You do, especially for guys that aren't that well known. So I would just do like, you know, you do a 10-minute set, and then you go to this club and you do another 10-minute set. So I was just doing like 10, a different 10, a different 10, or a different 15, and working my whole hour. So I was just worried I wasn't going to forget the order that I wanted it in, which thank God I did that, because it just made editing so much easier. Everything was the way I wanted it, you know. So, that was a little trick I picked up from Dov Davidoff. I don't know if I would need to do that again, but.
Did you run it once or twice? Like, did you have 2 different shows or just once?
Once.
Wow.
That was one show, dude. I wish I could have done it twice, but I don't think at the time I could have gotten people for 2 shows.
Yeah. That's gangster still. Like, just doing it one and done, you were living life on the edge, sir.
Yeah. I'm glad that it went great. I got a standing ovation, and I'm glad that we captured that in the one show.
It's a great album. Anybody if you haven't listened to it, you have to go listen to it. I get the bad guy bit because I do that at my house too. Where people get mad. I'm like, I'm the bad guy. It's like, come on. So like that 100% resonated with me. And so I get exactly where that's coming from. You're just, you have this, like, I don't care, but I also care at the same time attitude. Does that make sense?
I guess. I haven't heard that before.
So it's like, I don't care what you think about me, but also I really do care about stuff, right? Like, it's like that.
I think, yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. I do try to maybe have that vibe, because I think when you care too much, I don't know, it makes you seem desperate or not a good talent. You know, when you're on stage and you seem like so desperate that you want everybody to like you, you must not be that good.
Well, then so you've been to open mics in LA, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like a cocky, rude, like I'm too good for you or I am better than you. It's not that attitude. It's this like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do me, and I don't care if you like it or not, but I'm gonna be real with you because these are the things I want to talk about. These are the things that are important to me, and so I'm gonna tell you what I think. You know, I'm gonna tell you the jokes that I want to tell you. You're not catering to anybody, which is not common, by the way. I'm
glad that it doesn't come across as arrogant, because that's not how I mean it at all. Yeah, it's just I learned along the way that as soon as you stop caring so much on stage, that's when you really become funny.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't care. Sorry, I'm gonna say a different word. When you just
Clean comedy podcast.
clean comedy podcast. Sorry, when you just don't care, it like not meaning like I don't care how this set goes or I don't care. I don't mean careless. I just mean like when you don't. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't need every single person in this room to love me. I just want to tell you what I want to talk about, man. And here's my views on it. It's not for you to agree with. It's for me to get it out.
Yeah. And that's what's great about you too, is as a comedian, seeing you perform, you're right. Not everybody's going to agree with you, but you're so real. You're so you. And it's like, you're unapologetic about it, which I love. That doesn't happen very much, especially in LA. In LA comedy, you're catering to a specific group of people or a specific profile, or you don't want to offend somebody or whatever, but you don't, not that that's not a good thing too, but like, you're just going to be real and honest. And that's what I love.
I appreciate it, man. I try.
What was interesting too, like before we started, I listened to most of the album, but I didn't hear the part where like you said the date or had a reference to the year. Because like I figured like this was brand new, because a lot of the material is like so like relatable now. Like there's that the Power 106. It's the same.
That's right.
It's the same like Galpin. They haven't changed it one bit. It's the same thing.
I haven't listened to that channel in so long, so that's, it's still relevant. I mean, I do a lot of relationship material. I still do, because it's a big part of my life, and I feel like that material will never expire. It's always going to be relatable.
Yeah.
And besides that, I try not to do bits that have a time frame. Like I know a lot of comics that are like, bro, I got this new Trump bit, and it's like, how long are you going to do that for?
Yeah.
4 years, maybe another 8, maybe not. You know what I mean? Like I don't like to do stuff that has a time frame on it. It's not going to always be. But then again, you got like these legendary, brilliant comics like Rogan and Burr or Louis C.K., but they have contracts to do like a special a year. So for them, it makes sense to talk about topical things, and as long as they're doing it a brilliant take on it, I'm fine with that. But like a guy like me who doesn't release a special every year, I don't want to talk about topical things. You know?
I could never be like a topical news comedian, or because it'd be like you have to throw away stuff all the time. There's no way you can't. Evergreen is the best. And like Luke said, that radio bit that's still evergreen, because if you go turn on 92.3 or any of those kind of hip hop stations, all of those still do it. Hey man, you ain't got car insurance. You better call. You're like, oh come on, man, really? Like just do the normal commercial. You not for real. That makes me feel like you're talking down to somebody, honestly.
You know what's funny is that's my least favorite joke on the whole album. But for so many years, even still to this day, when people see me, they go, hey, I've seen you perform once before. And they go, you do that Power 10 bit joke. And I'm like, oh, people remember that one, man. And I think the reason I don't like it is, to me, it was a little hacky because I talk about like different races and stuff, which I don't like to do. But I think on the album, I actually called the track the hacky joke.
Yeah, I think, let's see. Intro stereotypes. Yeah, the hacky joke. Yeah, you do.
Stereotypes in parentheses, it's the hacky joke. Yeah.
Well, it's like Darren Carter. Every time I see him, I always do his if you're happy and you know it, pop a cap, because he like did the rap song like what are rappers going to do next? Are they going to take nursery rhymes and make them and whatever? And he does it. And he's just like, how do you remember that? I'm like, dude, that's like one of my favorite lines you've ever said. It's from like his first or second album.
It's so funny what sticks with people, right? You never know what's going to stick with people. The brilliant bits that I love is never the ones that people like stick with them, you know. But that's the key. Someone told me that once. Another comic told me once. It's like the key is to be remembered. You know, that's the key. It's like if they're talking about you or they remember your jokes years from now. Like we were just talking about Dov Davidoff, who kind of hasn't really been relevant in a long time.
Well, he was on Crashing with Pete Holmes. He was on that Pete Holmes show. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, I mean, as far as stand-up, I haven't really seen him, but I can still tell you like 3 or 4 of his jokes. They were so good and memorable.
Yeah. And that's the big thing. I mean, that's all we're trying to do. I mean, the first time some kid came up and recited one of my jokes to me, like he messed it up a little bit, but he got the punchline, and I was like, you know what? All right, cool. I like this. I'm happy now. Like I felt good.
I just pictured that beginning segment of Seinfeld's farewell special from the 90s.
Yes.
where the little kid comes up to him with the paper that he found. He's like, "This is a solid bit. You're throwing this away."
Yeah, I love that. I have that on DVD.
I used to have it too, but then I think I gave it to somebody because I'm
Wow.
like, I could just probably YouTube it.
I don't know if I've never seen it on YouTube. I saw him live. I try to see him live once a year because he reminds me of like just how much work it takes to be that good. Like he makes it look so effortless, but you realize how much work it takes.
I like him. I hear more and more that from comics that he's not their cup of tea. Like they don't get the hype about him, but I like him. I admire his work, and I mean, sure, maybe he's a little corny, but it's just good old wholesome comedy.
Yeah, he's amazing. Him and Tom Papa are like two of my favorites. Do you know Tom Papa?
Yes, I know Tom Papa. He's great too.
I love Tom Papa. As in person, he's a great person. He's given me
Yeah.
advice like 3 or 4 times. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorites.
I used to see him at the store go up like twice a week. His stuff is also very relatable and family oriented. If you got relationship stuff, family stuff, kid stuff, man, you're golden forever. You got a career for the rest of your life.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping. Woo!
And you know
So-
what's funny on this album, The Bad Guy, all that stuff I talk about my wife, it's not the wife who I'm married to now.
Oh, oh,
It's like that was my ex-wife, and I had just recorded the album right when we split up.
oh, wow.
So all that stuff I was saying about her was kind of mean, and I was really in my heart, I sold it. You know, I have bits about my wife now, but they're not as mean, and I wouldn't really talk about her like that.
See, I always have to run wife bits by my wife before I can ever do them. Like, can I do this joke? And she's like, well, maybe you need to change a little something. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And then,
I get mad if it's about her.
no, she doesn't get mad if it's about her, but if it's mean, like I had like a mean kind of joke when I first started, and she was like, don't tell that joke. I don't like that joke. And I was like, okay. So, but other than that, yeah, it was only one. Actually, it was only ever one that she hated. I'll tell it to you off air because it's not a family appropriate joke
Oh,
either.
that's what I told you.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why she said that. So where can people find you, Agostino? Where can they find the album, and where can they learn more about you?
The album is available worldwide. It's called The Bad Guy. You can get it on, you can get it anywhere, but particularly the main ones are iTunes and Amazon, or everybody uses. And that's where I need the most ratings. So if you guys do download it, please also leave like a little review, 5 stars. This was a funny album. I recommend you download it. So if you guys can do that, I would really appreciate it. And if you like the album, keep in mind that I'm like 6 years funnier than that right now. So come out to a show the next time we actually have live shows. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm at Agostino Zoida. I'm sure you'll have the correct spelling on here.
Yes.
Or you can go to my website, which is homeschooledpod.com, which is because I have a podcast called Homeschooled.
Which is great.
James has done it a couple times. I always have great guests on, comedians, anybody who's an artist and inspirational. So homeschooledpod.com. You'll find everything on me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. My phone always wants to spell your name with a U for some reason.
Everybody does.
I know. I hate that. It did it to somebody the other day when I was trying to tell them about your album, and I was like, "That's not how it's supposed to be spelled." And I accidentally said it because it looked right, and then it sent it with the. I was like, "Come on, man!" So I had to go back and rewrite it. Luke,
Thank you for sharing the album.
Yeah, Luke, where can people find you at?
LukeLacoy on the social media.
On all the social media.
Jesus. Yep.
Perfect. So you can go to JamesDCreviston.com, comedypreneur.com. Don't forget, if you're just listening to this, you're not watching it on YouTube, you're missing something, because go ahead and throw out the background. The background gives itself away. If you don't know what this background is, then you shouldn't be watching TV. You shouldn't be watching anything funny. You need to get your life right. Go get on Amazon and watch all the episodes. But leave a comment, like, subscribe, and go and get Agostino's album, The Bad Guy. It's amazing. It's not clean. So if you're a clean comedy person, it's not clean, but it is amazing. So just don't listen to it around your kids, you know.
And by saying not clean, there's curse words. So if you watch a 13 movie, it's the same thing. It's not sexual at all, I would say, right? What did you say?
No, it's not.
So yeah, but yes, there's language, there's potty language. This is the fastest podcast I've ever done. You guys are in and out, huh?
25 minutes or so. We're on this, man. We've done like 190 something episodes, I think, or something.
What do you guys do? 30 minutes tops?
30 minute stops.
Can I leave you guys with a story, or we have time?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Let's do a story, because this is something that's not on the album, and I have actually never told it on stage before. But
Yes.
this is a real story that I want to maybe incorporate into a bit one day, maybe. Okay. Just to show you guys, I got a lot more where that came from. Okay. So, dude, a long time ago, a few years back, a friend of mine had a really, really good friend who was very wealthy. Okay. And this dude was well connected. Just to give you an idea of how long ago it was, remember with the Tupac hologram at Coachella? That's when this happened. Okay. I don't know what year that was. So my buddy, whose friend is very, very rich, he's connected with a lot of people. He has a brilliant idea to take the hologram idea and apply it to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, all these, great, the Rat Pack and Elvis Presley. And he goes, and bring them all on one stage to perform together. Whoa. Like, what a great idea that is, right? And so they're going to test it out. So my buddy with a lot of money hires this production company. They actually make the software to do it. They actually make the holograms. And then they go, we're going to pitch it. So they rented out the Alex Theater in Glendale, California. So my buddy goes, dude, I can sneak you in. There's nobody in there. It's literally the guys who made it, the guy whose idea it was, and the people they're pitching it to. And he goes, I'll sneak you in the back door. You can see this thing that no one's ever seen ever. I'm like, okay, cool. He goes, this is just a sample of it. So he sneaks you in the back door. I sit down. We all have to put on like these 3D goggles. And dude, no joke, Paul Anka walks out on stage. The real one, not a hologram. Okay? And Paul Anka goes, I am going to be performing a little piece for you guys. And then they go, we're just waiting on the people we're pitching to. So then I see the people they're pitching to walk in. It's Steve Wynn, as in the Wynn Hotels.
I know him.
So Steve Wynn, who, by the way, I think is like legally blind.
Yes.
Right? So he's got two guys, one on each arm, guiding him to his seat. He doesn't say a word to anybody, just sits down. They start the show. Paul Anka starts singing, performing for everybody in the room. And then he welcomes his good friend, Mr. Frank Sinatra. And Frank Sinatra, all of a sudden, you have the 3D glasses on, all of a sudden these steps appear, like the old school, like kind of spiral. And he comes, and Frank Sinatra starts walking down the steps with the little hat on, and he's singing, I Did It My Way. And he comes and he stands next to Paul Anka. So the hologram Sinatra standing next to the real Paul Anka right in front of me, and they're singing together a duet. And at the end, Sinatra takes his hat off and throws it into and it's like 3D and it comes at you like that. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. The best part of the story is afterwards, it's all quiet. Everybody takes the goggles off. We're waiting to see what happens. And Steve Wynn goes, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. No joke, dude. Steve Wynn goes, you dragged me all the way here for this? Dude, it was as good as the Tupac hologram, like as that real looking. And he goes, and they kept saying, well, we just thought that the hologram was, ready to be showcased. And he goes, first of all, stop calling it a hologram. It's not a hologram. And he goes, I don't want anyone in my hotel to have to put 3D glasses on their face. I thought that this was going to be like, you didn't have to wear glasses. And he's so mad. And I'm like, aren't you blind? How did you see any of this? And then, dude, no joke, he's laying into Paul Anka. He's just telling Paul Anka, he's like, how dare you bring me here? To Paul Anka. Like, you wasted my time. Dude, it was the craziest thing. I don't know where to take the story or, like, what punchlines there are in there. But I think it's such a crazy story that I got to find a way to tell it on stage one day.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, you know what? You're going to have to, because that's such a good story. I met Steve Wynn. I used to work at the Mirage and a couple places I ran into him a couple times. Yeah, he's legally blind. And so he will remember you, though. Like, if he meets you, he'll remember you, which is the weirdest thing in the world, because he's blind. But maybe he has, like, Daredevil sense and he can tell who you are still. I don't know how it works.
I don't know. Apparently, he saw enough to tell that was not the show he wanted to watch.
You know what? He probably had Danny Gann. No, Danny Gann was gone by then. I was going to say, he probably had Danny Gann. Danny Gann could just do Frank Sinatra, but Danny Gann's gone.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. But it was unreal. Anyway, I just wanted to leave a fun little story for your audience.
Awesome. So now Agostino can tell funny stories. There's no punchlines in that story, and it's still funny. So now imagine when he adds punchlines, that's what the bad guy is.
Thank you, man. Dude, the punchline is Steve Wynn looking at Paul Anka going, this is garbage. It's like, what? It's crazy. crazy.
Perfect.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the podcast. I'm glad that Agostino left us with that. We're so happy. Oh, look at the dog. All right. There you go. Thank you guys so much. Have a great week. Bye.
See a clean up in here. So clean your mouth out with a bar of soap and get ready for the